Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are wading into a plot so complex, so ruthless. It feels less like a straightforward corporate takeover and more like a psychological thriller, doesn't it?
It really does. We're talking high-level corporate espionage, a rogue, weaponized AI program just running rampant.
Total corporate ruin looming.
Exactly. And right at the heart of it all, it looks like a very specific, very intimate form of blackmail is being cooked up.
Yeah, it's this classic narrative, really. Desperation meeting manipulation head on.
And we're zeroing in today on Phyllis Summers, who's positioning herself as this manipulative ally to Kane Ashby, who is, let's face it, a truly desperate man right now.
Because his company, Arabesque, is just being systematically dismantled by technology unleashed by none other than the mustache himself, Victor Newman.
Right. So our sources this week give us this incredible multi-layered peek behind the curtain. We get to see the core motivations, the things really driving this whole disaster.
Okay, so what's the mission here? What are we trying to figure out?
Well, the mission is pretty precise. We need to understand the true layers of Phyllis's strategy. I mean, has she been seeking corporate domination all along?
Yeah.
Or is her focus now on something much more primal, a personal prize?
And crucially, what exactly is the price she's preparing to demand to play the hero and save the day? Because, based on our research, this demand goes far, far beyond just money or shares in the company.
Absolutely. It's deeply personal. And the stakes, they're immense and they're immediate. For you, our listener, you know the current situation. Kane is literally watching his livelihood implode.
Yeah, because Victor Newman has unleashed his own custom AI program. It's basically a digital weapon on Arabesque.
And the damage isn't just superficial, is it? The systems are crumbling. The data is getting corrupted. The company is essentially having like a digital heart attack.
A digital heart attack, that's a good way to put it. And the most immediate solution, the thing you'd normally go for, the kill switch, it's completely inaccessible.
Right. Kane's in-house tech guys, they are, frankly, useless in this situation, completely stumped.
They just cannot figure out how to shut this AI down. Which leaves Kane totally exposed, doesn't it? Exposed to Victor's calculated digital fury.
And this crisis, it doesn't just create vulnerability, it creates this massive power vacuum.
Ah, okay, a vacuum that Phyllis is perfectly positioned and ready to step into.
Exactly. And that desperation, that total exposure, well, that sets the stage perfectly for our deep dive into the setup. Kane's fury, his surprising sort of moral reckoning, and Victor's brutal, calculated retaliation.
So let's start with Kane. He's definitely furious, yes, but there's more going on, isn't there? He seems wrapped up in this deep sense of self-recrimination.
That's the starting point here, absolutely. He feels this whole destructive mess is karma. He actually believes he might deserve this.
Deserve it? Why? Just for the AI?
Well, partly for being maybe foolish enough to create an AI that Victor could weaponize like this, but also, the sources say, for all the other things he's done in his past. There's a lot of baggage there.
That feeling of moral debt.
Mm-hmm.
That's foundational, then, to understanding why he's so vulnerable right now.
Completely. Kane is essentially confronting the, let's say, questionable foundations of his own success. Arabesque itself, I mean, let's remember, it has a bit of a tainted origin story, right?
Right, with the whole Collins situation and the inheritance.
Yeah. So when a crisis like this hits, it's almost easy for him to spiral into thinking, yeah, maybe I deserve this ruin.
But Phyllis, ever the pragmatist, maybe the escape artist?
Yeah.
She's having none of that moralizing, is she?
Not at all. Our analysis highlights that she strongly disagrees with his self-blame. She instantly pivots. She tries to give him hope, telling him it's not too late to save Arabesque.
That denial of blame, that's pure Phyllis, isn't it?
Oh, vintage Phyllis. She never accepts responsibility for anything, and she certainly doesn't want Kane accepting responsibility right now.
Why not?
Because if he sinks into self-pity, he won't be motivated to fight back, or, more importantly, to accept her help. She needs him desperate, yes, but still salvageable. Still thinking there's a way out, her way out.
So her encouragement is actually a calculated move. It's about maintaining proximity.
Yeah.
Positioning yourself as the only one who can save him.
Exactly. The only competent savior in the room. Which brings us straight to her main method of manipulation in this early stage, her ambiguous position.
She's actively pretending to be his staunch ally. I notice she keeps throwing around the word we, right? To to imply they're in this
For
together.
constantly, we need to do this, we can fix this,
Yeah.
implying collaboration, shared struggle, a shared fate in this battle against Victor. She makes it sound like they're cohorts fighting side by side against this common enemy.
Which is, I mean, it's an elaborate, beautiful lie, considering the context.
The most elaborate lie, because the reality is she's the one who put them in this position. She is lying about the origin of the attack because she stole the AI from him in the first place.
Right. She put the weapon directly into Victor's hands. Our research confirms that fundamental betrayal.
So, her use of we is a complete fabrication. It's designed specifically to gain his trust at the exact moment he's at his absolute lowest. It's exploitation, pure and simple.
And the driving force behind it all isn't some abstract corporate strategy. It's personal chemistry.
The sources are extremely clear on this. She is, and I quote, clearly still really hot for him.
Wow. So this intense, almost immediate attraction, that's the real engine behind her staying close, her desire to play the hero, or maybe the anti-hero savior.
It seems to be the primary driver, yes. The corporate stuff is almost secondary now. We also have to talk about this perception of job security because it's a perfect example of her strategic misdirection.
What do you mean? She acts like she needs arabesque, right?
She acts like she needs arabesque to survive, yeah. As if she'd be out on the street career-wise if Kane fails. But let's look at the facts here. Realistically, she doesn't need this job.
Okay. Why not?
Because she has a far bigger prize potentially already lined up. Remember, she already went to Victor Newman and asked him to give her Chabot. That was their supposed deal.
Wait, hold on. Let's unpack that a little. If she's really gunning for Jabot, the CEO seat there, why invest so much emotional energy, so much effort into saving a little arabesque?
Because the emotional investment isn't actually in Arabesque as a company. It's in Kane as a man. Her apparent desperation over Arabesque's fate, it's likely a performance staged entirely for Kane's benefit. By positioning herself as deeply invested in his company's survival, she forces him to rely on her. This crisis, in her mind, is her direct path to his. Well, let's be blunt, his bed, not just his boardroom.
That makes the confrontation she has with Victor even more fascinating then. Because she tries to enforce some boundaries, right? She seems to be operating under the mistaken belief that she actually has some control over Victor's targets.
She does. She confronts Victor, arguing that attacking Kane's company with her AI was, quote, not their deal. She's acting shocked, indignant even, that Victor would veer off her script.
And how does the mustache react to that?
Predictably, he shuts her down. Victor's dismissal is definitive, it's cold, and it's a pure taunt. He instantly reminds Phyllis who is really in charge of this game.
How does he put it?
He states plainly that they are not partners, and that he can do whatever he damn well pleases, regardless of her feelings about Kane or whatever her original intentions might have been.
So Victor's basically reminding her, and everyone else, that she's just a pawn, a tool he's using to target Jack Abbott.
Exactly. And her temporary crush on Kane holds zero leverage over him. None whatsoever.
But the real sting, the part that must have really gotten under her skin, is when Victor reminds her of the only agreement that actually matters to him.
Yes, the one existing deal. Phyllis gets Jabot after he successfully takes it from Jack Abbott. Victor insists he still plans to honor that deal, but then he twists the knife.
How so?
He questions her sudden, completely hypocritical moralizing about Kane.
Ah, the hypocrisy. That's key.
It is the ultimate reality check for Phyllis, and it's actually a brilliant piece of writing because it ties right back to the plot's foundation. Victor points out the massive, glaring hypocrisy. He reminds Phyllis that she is the one who, quote, royally screwed Kane over by stealing the AI from him in the first place.
Oof. He calls her out directly.
Directly. Victor asks her why she even cares what he does to Kane now, since she initiated the betrayal that made this entire attack possible.
He's essentially saying, you handed me the gun, Phyllis. Now you're complaining about who I decided to point it at. It just completely undermines her position as Kane's supposed savior.
It does. But it also reveals Victor's tactical patience, doesn't it? He's not just using the AI. He's using the knowledge of Phyllis's deception against her. He understands her character flaw, that tendency toward impulsive betrayal, and he uses it to keep her off balance, to reinforce the idea that she is his subordinate, not his partner.
And we get a little more context on Victor's side of things through Nikki Newman's complicity.
Yes, Victor tells Nikki about his actions against Kane this week. And Nikki, who is often seen as Victor's sort of moral compass, maybe, she's surprisingly fine with it.
Fine with it, really?
Source material says she thinks it's great.
Wow. Okay, that's significant. What does that tell us?
It demonstrates a unified Newman front, at least for now, against what they perceive as external threats. Kane is outside the immediate family circle, right? And he was involved in creating this powerful, potentially dangerous tool. So for Nikki, maybe he's fair game.
But there's a caveat there, isn't there?
There is. Our deep dive note's a crucial one. Nikki will likely object, strongly perhaps, if Victor attempts to move against Jabot later.
And why the distinction? Why is Kane okay to target, but Jabot isn't?
It's the Summer Marchetti effect. Nikki's loyalty to family, specifically her granddaughter Summer, sometimes transcends her loyalty to Victor's personal grudges. Victor might want to crush Jack, sure, but if that means destroying the company her granddaughter runs, Nikki will probably draw a line.
But Kane has no such protection.
None. He is essentially a sacrificial lamb in Victor's broader war against the Abbotts, and for now, Nikki is apparently cheering the slaughter.
So we have Victor targeting Kane, Nikki endorsing the attack, and Phyllis pretending to be Kane's savior while actually being the culprit who enabled the whole thing.
It's a beautifully complicated, ruthless mess.
It really is, which leads us right into dissecting Phyllis's constantly shifting goals and trying to understand why she seems willing to burn down her entire corporate strategy.
Okay, so if we trace the genesis of the theft, the very beginning, it's clear Phyllis's initial objective was huge. It was purely about punishment and corporate domination, and it was targeted specifically at Victor Newman.
That's right. She didn't steal that AI for fun or just to cause random chaos. She originally stole it because she was furious. The source used the term PO'd, that Kane wouldn't use it as she planned, which was to attack Newman Enterprises.
Her initial objective was crystal clear, according to the sources. She wanted to punish Victor, not Jack or Jabot initially. She explicitly told Kane she wanted to take over Newman. Imagine that. Victor Newman working for her, answering to Phyllis Summers.
That's ambitious, even for Phyllis.
Extremely ambitious. She wanted Newman and Chancellor, the two absolute pillars of Genoa City commerce, to go down. This was a classic, maybe overly ambitious power grab targeting the absolute top tier.
That clarity of purpose is important. It tells us she's capable of mapping out these grand, hostile schemes. But here's the puzzle then. If her goal was Newman Enterprises, how did she pivot so drastically? How did she end up in this convoluted position where she handed the very tool she wanted to use against Victor to Victor?
It makes no logical sense, does it? Not for a supposed master planner.
Not really. This is where we have to look at the nature of the source's speculation.
Yeah.
The material suggests this rapid, seemingly illogical shift was either, well, sloppy writing, the writers needing to accelerate the plot for some reason, or potentially a very long, very convoluted, long con. But that feels like a stretch, too.
It does. But if we look at Phyllis's history, her track record, the most likely scenario described is actually quite characteristic of her impulsive, often arrogant personality.
Which is?
She acted impulsively. Simple as that. She got mad, PO'd, as the source says, at Kane's resistance. She stole the AI immediately, probably without thinking through all the consequences. And then, in a moment the source describes as frankly insane, she handed it over to Victor.
Thinking she could trust him. Victor Newman.
Thinking she could trust him, or at least manipulate him, into sticking to her chosen target.
So it wasn't necessarily poor writing. It was just peak overconfident Phyllis, believing she could manage the ultimate manipulator.
Exactly. She relied on Victor's pre-existing, deep-seated hatred of Jack Abbott to ensure he'd attack Jabot instead of Newman. That way, she'd still cause chaos, still potentially benefit, but without getting her own hands quite so dirty.
But even that convoluted strategy, the sources question as logical consistency, right?
They really do. It's the ultimate example of overconfidence meeting poor execution, and it reveals this massive strategic blind spot she seems to have.
What's the blind spot?
Handing Victor Newman a powerful weapon and just expecting him to use it exactly the way she wanted rather than how he wanted, that's a stunning error in judgment. It relies on Victor having less agency, less cunning than she does, which is never, ever the case.
Yeah, bad assumption. And the logic gets even shakier, maybe completely falls apart when we factor in her family. The whole Jabot Summer problem makes Phyllis's supposed corporate scheme against Jack and Jabot seem, well, actively self-destructive, maybe even idiotic.
It really does. Attacking Jabot just doesn't hold water from a family perspective, because her own daughter, Summer Newman, runs Marchetti.
Which is a key division of Jabot.
Exactly. And Summer cares deeply about the Abbotts. She would be absolutely furious, incandescent at Phyllis for engineering their downfall. That family dynamic completely undermines the entire corporate plot against Jabot.
And it's not just Summer's feelings, is it?
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, Victor's involved here too.
Right. The sources note Victor also likely wouldn't allow Marchetti, run by his own granddaughter, to be destroyed or taken from Summer. He has his own lines he won't cross, usually involving family.
So the moment Phyllis gave that AI to Victor, the Jabot attack was immediately compromised by family loyalty. On Victor's side, and potentially Phyllis's, if she cared about Summer's reaction.
Which makes that initial theft, aimed at Jabot via Victor, seem almost pointless in retrospect. The Jabot agreement with Victor, it was either a smokescreen from the start or just a complete dead end she didn't think through.
Okay, so if the corporate scheme against Victor failed because she gave him the weapon, and the scheme against Jabot is fundamentally flawed because of Summer, what is the true motivation driving Phyllis right now?
Our deep dive reveals a massive crucial pivot here. Her focus, it seems, has shifted entirely. It's all about Kane now.
This is the moment the chaos turns, isn't it? From corporate espionage to obsessive seduction.
That's a perfect way to put it. Phyllis realizes she probably needs to stop the AI, at least to retain some credibility with Kane, maybe salvage the situation. But her ultimate fixed goal seems to have shifted completely away from high-level corporate power
Towards
intensely personal connection. She wants Kane, both professionally and intimately.
what does that mean professionally and intimately?
Well, professionally, she wants to be his partner in every sense. She wants to run Arabesque with him, be at his side in business, have him rely on her genius, her solutions,
Okay.
and intimately.
The language used in the sources is even more explicit there. It says she wants to be, quote, sleeping on a pillow next to Kane, and to be romantically and intimately involved with him.
Wow. So it's no longer about controlling Newman or Jabot. It's about controlling Kane.
That seems to be the core driver now. And this fixation, we should point out, isn't entirely new. It didn't just spring up with the AI crisis.
The sources confirm her. Let's call it an obsession. It existed even before she fully understood the implications of the AI situation. It dates back to the Dumas stuff. Remember that?
I do, yeah. The flirting, the near kisses.
Exactly. Which suggests the current corporate crisis isn't the cause of her desire for Kane, but merely a tool, a sophisticated high-stakes distraction, maybe, designed to achieve a pre-existing romantic obsession.
What's truly illuminating here, then, is realizing how this whole AI plot, which started as this grand power grab against the corporate elite, it's now fully evolved into a classic manipulation and seduction plot.
Absolutely. The fate of an entire company, Arabesque, and the careers of however many employees work there. It's all just collateral damage in Phyllis's pursuit of one man.
And the beautiful, terrible irony of this whole situation is that because she's the one who engineered the crisis, both the theft and, as we'll discuss, likely the solution, she's uniquely positioned to end it.
Which makes her the perfect, terrible mastermind.
Right. And that brings us directly to her strategic advantage in Section 3. The hidden key she holds and the ultimate blackmail it allows her to prepare.
So before we get to the black man itself, let's just talk briefly about the technical crisis again, just to understand the sheer scale of Kane's desperation right now. His IT team isn't just struggling to find a switch, they're struggling to even comprehend the nature of the attack.
Yeah, give us some detail here. What is this rogue AI actually doing to Arabesque? What does that look like on the ground?
Okay, think of it like a digital wrecking ball, but one that moves faster than any human reaction time. The AI is systematically locking down the company's entire digital infrastructure.
Locking it down how?
It's likely corrupting core accounting ledgers, maybe redirecting customer funds or payments, almost certainly leaking proprietary trade secrets or client data.
Oh, wow.
And simultaneously, it's systematically locking out Kane's own engineers, probably by changing encryption keys constantly, altering administrative passwords faster than they can track. Arabesque is hemorrhaging data and capital at the same time.
So the company is being, what, digitally strangled?
That's a good description. Digitally strangled. And Kane's team is basically trying to run diagnostics on a computer system that's already actively hostile towards them. It's almost impossible.
But the sources are crystal clear on this point. Phyllis is suspected of being the true mastermind behind the solution, the only one who knows how to pull the plug. Why? What makes them so sure?
Because she is repeatedly described throughout her history and in this context as a brilliant hacker. Remember, she was clever enough to steal the AI in the first place. That means she had to understand its architecture, its code, its weaknesses.
Okay, so her technical capability. That's the key to her leverage here.
It's everything. If she can steal the AI and figure out how to deploy it or hand it off for deployment, she certainly knows how to stop it, or at least she should know. This capability strongly supports what we're calling the backdoor theory.
The backdoor theory. Explain that.
Our deep dive suggests Phyllis may have been playing victor, or at least hedging her bets from the very start. She might have ensured she always had her own secret access to the AI's kill switch or control mechanism. A master manipulator like Phyllis. She always operates with a built-in safety net, doesn't she?
That makes sense. And we know for a fact she knew about the kill switch, right? Kane had told her about it previously.
Yes, he did. And crucially, she also knew about the ability to remotely control the AI. That was another feature Kane had shared with her back when he was considering having Billy Abbott use it in some earlier plot.
So she had insider institutional knowledge of the AI's vulnerabilities before she even stole it.
Precisely. Given that, it seems highly unlikely she would just give Victor the complete unsecured keys to the kingdom. If she is the brilliant hacker the sources suggest, well, it's more probable she handed the AI over to Victor to cause chaos, yes, maybe to test the system, let him target Jabba, see what happens. But she ensured she had an emergency exit, a backdoor to pull the plug whenever she decided the game was over.
Because she knows, perhaps better than almost anyone in Genoa City, that Victor cannot be trusted.
Exactly. She understood the inherent risk of giving him that kind of weapon, and it seems plausible, even likely, that she engineered her own failsafe.
Okay, so let's follow this logic. She created the crisis, or at least enabled it, and she secretly holds the antidote.
Which places Kane exactly where she needs him? Desperate, vulnerable, unable to turn to anyone else for a viable solution? His own team is useless against this thing.
It sets the stage perfectly for the ultimate leverage, the blackmail strategy.
And this is where the conversation, the whole situation, turns truly brutal. She's going to dangle the offer to save Arabesque, right? The sources confirm it will be at a pretty high price.
And given her established, now overwhelming motivation to control Kane, we know that price isn't going to be a percentage of the company or a seat on the board.
No. The demand is simple, it's direct, and it's intensely personal. She will tell Kane, essentially, I'll save your company, I'll stop the digital destruction. But in exchange, Phyllis gets Kane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just flat out like that?
It's not presented as a subtle negotiation in the source material. It's a transaction. The sources are definitive on this point. Phyllis is not above blackmailing her way into Kane's bed.
It's a chilling move, isn't it? This elevates the conflict way beyond a standard corporate thriller. It becomes this deep moral and sexual conflict.
Absolutely. Kane now has to weigh the life of his company, his livelihood, everything he's built, against his personal dignity, his freedom, and crucially, his existing very complex romantic feelings for Lily.
And this choice, which we absolutely have to dig into next, it reveals the terrifying consistency, the ruthlessness of Phyllis's character throughout her entire history. This isn't new territory for her.
Right. Before we analyze the choice itself, we have to look closely at Kane's romantic conflict because this is the precise pivot point for the blackmail. It's the leverage point.
Okay. So where does he stand? We know he's been flirting pretty heavily with Phyllis, right? There was dancing, teasing, almost kissing.
Yes, all of that. Yet fundamentally, he remains, as the sources put it, hung up on Lily Winters.
That fixation on Lily, that's his emotional anchor, isn't it? And it's
Okay.
the exact source of the moral tension that Phyllis is now poised to exploit.
It is, and the deeper context here is critical. Lily, his ex-wife, the mother of his children, has already told him repeatedly, apparently, that they are never, ever getting back together. It's done.
And there's an external factor too, right? The actress.
Exactly. Further complicating matters from a story perspective, the character of Lily will soon be exiting Genoa City anyway because the actress, Christelle Khalil, is leaving for maternity leave.
So Kane is basically clinging to a ghost. He's refusing to move on from a relationship that is, for all intents and purposes, already doomed.
It seems that way. This state of emotional limbo makes him psychologically weak, vulnerable. He's hoping for some miracle reconciliation that Phyllis is about to just crush with her ruthless ultimatum.
And this ultimatum forcing intimacy, demanding his body essentially to save his company, this isn't some creative leap for Phyllis, is it? It's actually kind of a pattern for her.
It is absolutely a pattern. To truly grasp the gravity of this blackmail, how readily she might resort to it, we have to look at the historical context of Phyllis's actions. The sources explicitly detail her past willingness to drug men to get her way.
Okay, let's pause there. Drugging men. We need to be specific here.
This historical precedent is absolutely essential to spend time on because it confirms her utter lack of scruples when it comes to intimate control over men she desires. Let's look at the specific examples the material provides. First, Danny Romalotti.
Okay, what happened there? This was way back.
Way back in the day. Specific example 1. She drugged Danny Romalotti. While he was drugged or incapacitated, she slept with him, then later convinced him that she was pregnant with his child.
She fabricated the paternity.
Yes, forcing him into a relationship and eventually marriage based on a lie about paternity, all stemming from a chemically induced, non-consensual encounter. It was direct chemical manipulation to force a domestic outcome she wanted.
Staggering. But it didn't stop there, did it?
Yeah. No. When she needed to maintain the lie, to solidify her control over Danny and the situation, she went even further. Specific example 2. She tracked down the real biological father of the child she was carrying. And when she needed a DNA sample from him to fool Danny to prove Danny was the father, she drugged that man too, her actual baby daddy, just to get the DNA sample she needed to continue the deception.
So, just to be clear, we are talking about a character whose immediate solution to achieving intimate control or forcing a domestic arrangement she desires has in the past involved chemical assault and profound, multi-layered deception against multiple men.
That is exactly what the historical sources indicate. The conclusion is stark, really. Phyllis has no scruples, none, when it comes to getting the man she wants or achieving the end goal she set her sights on.
So leveraging Cain now, blackmailing him into a relationship, demanding his body to save him from bankruptcy.
It is entirely consistent with this established history. This is just a modern corporate version of her old playbook. She has simply swapped the, sleeping pills or whatever she used for a weaponized AI program. The goal and the ruthlessness remain the same.
Okay. And this consistency is what makes the situation so incredibly dire for Cain. Let's play it out. Imagine he gives in. What are the consequences for his future with Lily, the woman he apparently still loves?
Catastrophic. The sources predict the immediate fallout with Lily will be absolute. If Cain gives in to the blackmail, he will completely alienate Lily. It will put the final nail in the coffin for any lingering hope of reconciliation.
Total destruction of that relationship. But what if he tells her? What if he says, Lily, Phyllis blackmailed me. I had to do it to save the company. Would that make a difference?
The sources suggest probably not. It notes a crucial distinction here that we need to emphasize. Even if Cain were to confess that Phyllis blackmailed him into sleeping with her to save Arabesque, Lily would likely not be sympathetic.
Really? Why? That seems harsh, even for Lily.
Because Lily will view this choice through a lens of moral integrity, or the lack thereof. She won't see it as a sacrifice. She'll see him compromising his fundamental self.
How so?
Lily might instead view him, quite harshly perhaps, as prostituting himself to keep the company afloat. And here's where we have to link back to the very foundation of Arabesque itself.
The shady money.
Exactly. We have to remember, this company Cain is trying to save. It was built, at least initially, off funds his own father, Colin, acquired from a dying old lady through some very shady means. It's tainted money.
So in Lily's eyes, Cain would be compromising his personal dignity, his integrity, to save a company that was founded on inherently questionable money in the first place.
Precisely. From her perspective, it wouldn't be some noble sacrifice. It would be the final surrender to the moral rot that has kind of plagued his life and his business dealings right from the beginning. He would be proving, maybe once and for all, that his financial success means more to him than his personal integrity or his connection to her.
Wow. Okay. And this high-stakes negotiation, this potential blackmail, it's heightened by the looming threat of this compromising position scene, right? Spoilers suggest Lily catches Phyllis and Cain in a compromising position this week.
Yes. And this is likely the exact moment of the negotiation itself, or perhaps the immediate aftermath.
So this scene that Lily witnesses, it's speculated to be the very moment Phyllis lays out her deal, or maybe even demands a down payment.
That's the speculation, yes. That Phyllis offers the deal, I save Arabesque, I get you, and possibly demands an immediate down payment. Maybe a kiss, maybe more, some moment of physical intimacy from Kane
Why a down payment?
to ensure he'll follow through, to
Why?
lock him in before she actually stops the AI attack, a sign of his commitment to the terrible bargain.
The timing is just excruciating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kane is at the absolute height of his panic. His livelihood is visibly collapsing around him. And Lily walks in just as he's being offered this horrific way out, a way out that requires betraying any future with her.
It's a moment of almost unbearable pressure, calculated pressure, orchestrated by Phyllis.
So if this scenario plays out, as the sources suggest, and it seems very likely it will, the conclusion is pretty devastating, isn't it?
It is. Arabesque might be saved, technically. The company might survive. But, as the source puts it, Phyllis may end up owning Kane and Lily walks away in disgust.
He saves the company, but he sacrifices everything else, his integrity, his freedom, his last chance with Lily.
Exactly. Which brings us to the final, painful question that really defines Kane's character this week, maybe defines his future.
What is truly important to him? Is he willing to, as the sources phrase it, trade his body for his company?
It's the ultimate choice, isn't it? Between financial survival, even if the foundation of that survival is morally questionable, and personal dignity, personal integrity.
And that choice.
Yeah.
It will define Kane's character trajectory for the foreseeable future.
Absolutely. Just as Phyllis's decision to use corporate collapse as a tool for seduction further solidifies her position as one of the most ruthless, consistently manipulative characters in the entire city, she knows exactly what she wants, and it seems she's willing to cause, or at least exploit, a virtual apocalypse to get it.
Okay, so let's try and bring together all the complex threads of this deep dive. We started with a clear, pretty existential crisis. Victor weaponizing this AI that Phyllis stole.
Right, using it to systematically destroy Kane's company, Arabesque.
And we dissected that dual conflict playing out.
Mm.
On one hand, the immediate technological collapse, the business crisis, and on the other, this deeper personal crisis, fueled by Phyllis's obsessive and deeply manipulative, quote-unquote, love.
Yeah, and the crucial knowledge nugget, I think, that we really uncovered today is the revelation about Phyllis's true, fixed objective right now, her apparent pursuit of Jabbat, that whole supposed agreement with Victor.
It was basically nothing, a smokescreen.
It looks like it. Nothing more than a smokescreen or maybe a failed detour for her real, unwavering desire, which is control over Kane. Leveraged by the technological disaster that she herself orchestrated, or at the very least, enabled.
She didn't want the company, Jabbat. She wanted the man running Arabesque, Kane.
Mm.
But broken, dependent on her.
Exactly. It's a perfect illustration of her modus operandi, isn't it? She uses chaos, whether it's corporate chaos like this or historically chemical manipulation, to achieve intimate control.
She's the brilliant hacker who, we suspect, always leaves herself a back door. Knowing that her ability to rescue Kane from the technological collapse she caused is actually her most powerful weapon of seduction right now.
And the cost of that rescue. It's not a simple financial fee, is it? It's Kane's personal life, his dignity, and specifically his last vestige of hope with Lily. It is a price that, if paid, forever retains the value of his business success.
So we've seen Phyllis rely on technology, this AI, and her history shows manipulation, even drugging men, to achieve her ends. If Kane does choose to submit to this blackmail to save his company, well, we're left with a powerful, provocative thought for you, the listener.
Which is?
We know Arabesque was built on a foundation of shady money, right, from Colin. If Kane now trades his personal integrity, his body essentially, for the continued existence of that particular enterprise, what does that decision truly say about the value of a successful business built on such a questionable foundation?
Especially when compared to the invaluable cost of personal dignity.
Exactly. When a business can only be saved by sacrificing the self, by surrendering your free will, your dignity, your integrity, was that enterprise ever truly worth saving in the first place?
That is the heavy, damning question Kane has to answer this week. And the answer, whatever it is, will absolutely reshape the lives of everyone involved. Phyllis, Lily himself.
A truly compelling moral choice wrapped inside this high-tech corporate meltdown. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll be back soon with another analysis of the stories that keep us all hooked.